game. And that definitely isn't something that is good for the sky. So what do you guys need to do to kind of clean it up?
I think we were a little surprised by the hedging. We really weren't, I don't think, prepared for that. So I think moving the ball more, I think we dribbled a little too much, and that sort of played in their favor because they were trapping a lot. They were getting their hands on a lot of balls, and the best way to combat that is just to move it. So I think, we'll take a look at film and clean some of that up, but I think that's sort of the best way we can really just combat their aggressiveness in the hedges.
Hey, Z, back here.
Oh.
First question. We knew that this was going to be a physical series. Did you expect that level of physicality out of them from the jump?
I honestly don't think so. They haven't really played us like that all year. So, I mean, we knew it was going to be a battle on the boards, but they really came out like super physical, and, we're more prepared for it now, and we'll be fine the next game. We'll be more prepared for it the next game.
Just a follow up on that. This was the first time that they ever took a lead on you guys in the first quarter. What was it about the first quarter that you saw out of them that was something that either shocked you guys or was something that you guys weren't expecting?
I think we just turned the ball over, and they were able to sort of capitalize on that. I don't really think our defense was terrible, but we didn't really score like we usually do. I think at half we had 32 or 35. That's like really low for us. We usually are scoring way more than that. So I think they just sort of threw different things at us. They hedged, then they didn't hedge, and we were sort of just like, I don't want to say confused, but I guess a little bit like we didn't really respond quick enough to what they were doing. So, yeah.
Hey, Azare. Obviously, the Sky is known for coming through in the clutch and being resilient, and certainly you all showed signs of that down the stretch. Going into Game 2, trailing 1-0, do you all see that as another opportunity for you to come through in the clutch in that way and to remain resilient?
Yeah, of course. I think, that's just sort of been our MO for the last 2 years is we always find a way to bounce back. We've showed that with Vegas. When we played them, we were down by so much and we came back. We lost the first game in the New York series and we bounced back. So I think for sure, like, we'll be more prepared just sort of for anything that they throw at us. And we will for sure play better, I think, the next game.
Yeah, Azri. It seemed like your minutes were a little bit limited in that fourth quarter. Was there anything going on with you physically, or was that just a coach's decision?
Nope, I'm healthy and doing good. So he just decided that, and I don't know why, but yeah, I'm good.
Just a quick follow-up. When the Sun set a tone like this, just with, like you said, the physicality they bring, how can you counter that when you have a team come in, and set this kind of tone in your first home game?
Yeah, I think I said this before, like, we're a quicker team than them, especially like post players. And so I think especially like that's how I sort of approach when teams try to get more physical with me, is using my quickness. I'm not a banger. Like, I'm not ever going to be able to push Brianna Jones. Like, that's just not going to happen. But I can use my shot, my quickness. And I think the same for Emma and Candace. Our versatility is what separates us from a lot of post players in the league, and we have to use that to our advantage. They're more of a slow, rugged, slow the game down, beat us up in the paint. And the ways we've been successful against them in that before is cutting, moving. Like, we just were stagnant, and that's what they want us to do because they have an advantage to that. So I think we just have to use our quickness. We have to move the ball more. Our posts have to, cut more. And we saw that sometimes with the guards. Like, we got some beautiful backdoor plays. That's the way we're going to beat them. We can't bang with them. That's just not the build of our team. So I think we need to just do more of that in the next game.
Hey, Z.
Hey.
So how did you feel about you guys' collective efforts on the board today? Of course, I'm sure it was a point of emphasis from Coach Wade, and obviously it's an outlet to winning the series.
Yeah, for sure. I think we could have done better. We emphasize that a lot, like with film, and we know it's always a battle with them. So we're never gonna, I think, completely shut them down. It's such a huge part of their game. But I think there was key possessions in the fourth quarter where, like, they got 2 and 3 offensive rebounds, and like that's the type of plays that can't happen. Like, they should be able to get 1 each possession, and that's a win for us. But we can't allow them to, get 2 and 3, especially that late in the game. That's just a momentum swing, honestly, when they're, that easily able to get O boards. It's just extra possessions for them, and it plays in their favor.
And then the bench group with, of course, you, Rebecca, and Julie. When you guys came into the game in your 2 early stretches in the first half and the second half, you guys were able to bring like a jolt of energy. Can you just speak to like generally how that specifically like helped you guys like re-up some energy and then kind of flow into your true identity throughout the course?
Yeah. Well, first, I think it's cool because every time we come in, the fans get really hyped. So that makes me really hyped. But I think that's just been sort of our MO all year. Like the bench, we've come in and we've been really productive, and it's not always scoring. We bring a lot of defensive energy. And, Julie comes in, she's really steady. She doesn't really turn the ball over. Rebecca's always on the attack. I'm always aggressive. So I think we should be better with that. I mean, I was 1 for 7, which is pretty terrible. So I'm not going to be that next game. But I think just continuing to find ways to impact the game, defensively and offensively. I mean, their bench did outscore our bench, and that usually doesn't happen. So as well as the team, like the bench will be better in the next game.
Daisy,
Hey.
I'm sure this wasn't top of mind because of the loss, but with Candace, I mean, she came 1 steal away from having a 5 game. What were the things that she was doing to help you guys just stay afloat amid all of the kind of confusion, as you alluded to before?
Yeah, I think Candace played incredible. I think she had 19 and 18 or close to that. She's able to do that. And so I think also like we didn't really shoot the ball that well, and that's something that is going to play to their advantage. They sag off a lot, and they sort of want us to try to force everything in, but we have great shooters on the team. We almost have 6 or 7 people that can shoot. So I think she was really confident in her shot, and we saw that. And like we talked about earlier, she just was able to display her versatility. And I think that's important. Like we have to shoot too. Like we just played into their hand with trying to bang it down, and I don't think that's going to work because that's what they want us to do. So I think she was able to just sort of keep us alive, especially in the second half. It was almost like whenever we needed a bucket, she answered, and that was really cool.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
Like you just said a couple seconds ago, the fact that Connecticut outscored Chicago's bench, that doesn't happen often. Connecticut had a 10+ advantage in the paint. That doesn't happen often, considering the Sky score over about 50% of their offense in the paint. How does that, keep that from happening into game 2?
Yeah, I think it's hard because I don't think our defense was terrible, but I know there's certain possessions where we sort of let them get what they wanted to get. JJ had some shots over her right shoulder, and I think in the playoffs, those are things you kind of have to limit, is like players' go-tos and make them beat you in another type of way. I think we hedged a little bit in the second half, and we saw some success with that. So I think, trying that a little bit earlier might help us. And I think just O boards, like that just gave them a lot of momentum. And a lot of the times when they got the O board, they were able to score easy 2s or kick it out and get an easy shot. So we really have to like hunker down on just, if they do get an O board, it's just 1, and like that's it.
Follow up, like Connecticut really kind of needs this game considering sweeping the season and then last year semifinals. Going into the next game, what's kind of the team's mindset as far as keeping this from happening again?
Yeah, I think like they're really hungry. I mean, we are too, but we could see that tonight. They came out with like a really, really intense energy, and yeah, they lost to us last year. And it wasn't just sort of like they lost, like they were they were on some crazy streak, and then we just sort of like gut punched them. Then we beat them 4-0 this year. So it's like they're really like, they have extra to like beat us, and I think like we all have to understand that and just bring as much energy as possible. I said this before the series started, like this is not even really like, okay, what can we do tactically? Like it's just whoever wants it more, because they have beef with us from last year and all of that. So it's whoever wants it more. And I think that play with Ka was, that was great. Like that's the type of series this is going to be, is who wants it more, who's not going to let the ball go. So I think we just have to bring like even more energy. in the next game, and we will. Yeah.
Any more questions for Steve?
Thank you, guys. I do actually.
All right, start with in-person questions, then we'll go to Zoom if time. Anyone want to start with questions for Coach? Back row. Thank you, Edward.
Good evening, Coach.
What's up, man?
Z just a moment ago said how hungry Connecticut is for this series, just going back to last year, and she put it in terms, said that they were on a crazy streak, and then you gut punched them in that series and then beat them 4-0 that series. So obviously that manifested in the first quarter, the way that they came out, but tactically and technically, what were they doing that threw you out of rhythm after you got those early Kalia Copper buckets?
I think they were really aggressive in ball screens, and they tried to put an early hit on the ball, and so it is something that they hadn't done with us, but we got used to it, and we just have to look at the video and adjust. But it's fine. Other teams have done that to us, and we'll be ready for it.
So Kurt Miller called this a messy game, and that obviously helped them. How do you go forward and try to clean it up and make it not so messy?
Well, we just got to move them. They only fouled us with 3 people. They only fouled us 7 times, and I thought that was. I thought a lot of times we didn't get calls when we drove to the basket, so it kind of discouraged us from driving, I think. But they just gotta see those. They gotta see them. And if it's not a foul, it's not a foul. But if it's a foul, it's got to be called. But we'll be better, and we'll be ready for it.
Hi, James. Z thought that you guys fared okay defensively. What did you think about how your unit fared, if that was a concern at all, and also specifically holding Jonquel Jones to not that many shots from the field? Were you at least pleased with that aspect?
I thought we did a good job defensively. We held them to 37%. Normally, when you hold a team 37%, 23% from the 3-point line, you normally win those games. But we got to do a better job of getting to the line. And we got to be aggressive. We got a couple of open shots that we didn't take just because we wanted to move the ball, but we have to look at the basket and actually take those shots, and it keeps the defense honest, and it opens up driving lanes. So when you do that, when you don't look at the basket, it kind of takes away from your team. And so, but we'll do a better job. We'll look at video, and we'll explain us what to each other what we have to do, and it's a series for a reason. So yeah.
Hey, James. Azrae talked about, just the physicality from Connecticut being even higher than maybe she had expected, and also kind of having the realization that the Sky might not be a team that can, bang with the Sun, and they might need to take kind of a little bit of a different approach at that. So how do you counter the Sun's physicality with the size that their front court has?
Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe it at all. So we played against their physical team last year in the playoffs. We played against their physical team this year in the season. You can't tell me we're not just as physical as they are. So they're big, but we're physical. We average more points in the paint than they do, and we don't get calls that they get, but that's fine with us. We'll be okay. So I don't agree with that one, but that's somebody else's perspective, and she has a right to that. But I think we're just as physical as they are.
Stephen in the red middle.
Hey, Coach. So you guys, Connecticut had 12 second chance possessions today.
Yeah.
They had about 9 points off of those.
Yeah.
Of course, you're not gonna mitigate them getting all of them, but do you feel like that was too many as far as the limit you wanted to allow?
They're going to offensive rebound, at more second chance points than they did. That's something that has never happened. Maybe if we let them get more, then we could probably beat them, because that's normally what happens. They get more and we beat them. So I think the difference is we can't let them get out in transition. I thought we did a good job of boxing out. Like anytime they get second chance points and they shoot less than 33% on those, that's a win for us. But the fact that they got out in transition a little bit more than we did, and we're the team that typically plays fast, I think that hurt us a bit. And I think that was probably the difference in the game. And the fact that we really didn't have the offensive production. Defense was fine, just the offensive production from certain spots on the floor that really hurt us. We normally not a team that shoots 35% from the field. I mean, we shoot 42%, we win the game. And so we missed some bunnies. We missed a few chippers. We missed, a couple of times we got out of their pick and rolls and we had shots at the rim and we didn't make them. And so we just got to make those shots, and that's just it. It's that simple.
And then speaking to the half court offense,
Mhm.
did you feel like it was a lack of Z mentioned the ball movement, but did you feel like it was also a little bit of the player movement in terms of you guys not getting too many like backdoor cuts that you typically get?
Yeah, I felt like we played their style. They wanted us to play their style of game where it was slow and methodical, and we like to play a little bit more free. So, I think the way for them to, if they're going to put two hands on us, if they're going to swat at bodies, it's going to complement them. But, we'll be ready for it next game. So if they want to play that style, it's fine with us too. We just have to be ready for it. We thought that we were supposed to get to the line a little bit more than we got. And it was surprising to me, but it's fine.
Back here, Coach. First off, we've talked about veteran leadership with this team all season, but Candace really stepped up big time. What were you seeing just out of her, especially in the second half, specifically more fourth quarter? It looked like she was trying to coach the team there near the end and really try and find a way to cut the lead in half and get the game a little bit closer.
Yeah, she played well. It was it was a game where she gave us defensive energy, and she was able to do things, rebounding and blocking shots and stuff like that. But we just have to become a collective unit. And offensively, we have to find our rhythm as far as how our offense goes, where we have multiple touches. For us to only have 24 field goals made in a game for a team that averages, a quarter more than that, we just have to do better.
Hey, Coach. I asked Z about the fact that Connecticut had a 10+ advantage in the paint, and she felt that even though that was the case, that doesn't happen often, and the defense is usually there. And tonight that was the case. DeWanna Bonner shot 4 for 16, Alyssa Sama shot 6 for 16, and Courtney Williams shot 3 for 12. To fight those stats, what do you think can happen in the next game to keep that kind of going as far as the defense?
Well, we just have to do our defensive schemes that just pay attention to the details that we've been paying attention to. Try not to put them to the line. So we'll be fine.
Hey, Coach. In addition to Candace's amazing performance today, you also got a lot of good minutes and a lot of good points and stats from Kalia. Obviously, she really played her heart out as she does best. I'm just wondering if you could speak to her performance today and also her physicality, not just on offense, but also her ability to be able to hit the glass when possible.
It just, Kalia's tough, man. She plays through so much stuff. It's really amazing. She plays through a lot of contact and she never really complains. And so it's, so I mean, I love what she brings for us. I love what she brings to our team, the energy, the fight that she has. And she's on the ground a lot. And I just feel bad for her sometimes because she doesn't, get the respect that a lot of people get, And I just, she penetrates more than anybody, and she only had 4 free throw attempts. Like we only had 9 free throw attempts. I've never seen that before, but to a team that averages 42 points in the paint, and I've never seen that before. But hey, I mean, we have to get used to that part of it, like how the games are being called. So that's something we're not used to. So but I had a feeling of that. So whatever. It's okay.
James, it seems like they were able to really limit the impact of Allie and Sloot tonight.
Yeah.
How'd you see them defend them?
I mean, they showed hard on a couple of things, but it really doesn't matter because you really want them to get to second touches, and we weren't able to get to second touches because we lacked some player movement. So, and sometimes we have to take open shots early from other players to give them driving lanes later, and so we have to do better of that, and they'll have cleaner looks, and sometimes they just miss some easy shots. So I don't expect that they'll go 5 for 18 next game and 1 for 9 from the three, especially with the shot that they were given. Like they were, given shots that we could have easily made. So I think that part is just on us.
Thank you. Allie Quigley will be next.
All right, thanks.
And then go to Zoom. If time, we'll start back row left side.
Good evening, Allie. Early on, it seemed like Connecticut. I mean, I think a few teams this season have made a point to try and run you through screens defensively, and I know it's just an energy drain of sorts. How do you counteract that and just go through the game and try to still get your offense? And how do you and the team counteract that when teams are trying to run you through the pick and roll?
We just got to read it better, I think, and, respond. You can see the first few possessions, how they're playing it, and you just have to respond. We've seen that kind of defense in our careers before, so we just have to respond to it and just play together and move the ball.
Julia, front row.
Hey, Allie. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about the physicality tonight, and that play with Kalia and Courtney Williams going down in the fourth quarter obviously was kind of a big galvanizing moment on both sides. Just kind of what was your perspective on that moment, and what do those types of physical moments mean for this team as you kind of get ready to grit out this series?
Yeah, I mean, I think either of them wanted to let go of the ball, and just shows their competitiveness. I knew Kyle wasn't going to let go, so yeah, it just shows how we both want this. We want this game, so and it's going to continue to be that way, I think.
So Zachary and then Maggie.
Hey, Allie. Z was in here, and she conveyed a sense of optimism going into game 2, especially considering that you all are really known for coming through in the clutch when your backs are up against the wall, and certainly this is another one of those moments. Where do you get that confidence, and where do you get that optimism going into game 2, being in this position yet again?
Yeah, I think just that we've responded all year long to tough games, so I know we're going to respond again. We know what kind of game they want to make it, but we just gotta make it our kind of game, and one that suits us. So we'll figure it out.
Okay, well, you kind of just answered what I was going to say, but this was a very messy game and doesn't play to your strengths. So how do you kind of get around that in the next game?
You just have to enforce your will, and you have to make the game be played the way you want it to be played. It was a boring game. It was just, that's not the game we like to play. So I think for them to win, they have to play that kind of game. So we just have to enforce our will and enforce our style on them through defense and, just being us on offense.
Hey, so you guys had 63 points today. That was a season low. Did you feel like that was kind of attributed more so to like a lack of player movement, or did you ball movement as well, or was you attributed to both?
Maybe at first it was their defense dictating a little bit, but we didn't respond well to it. I think we could have moved the ball better and just played more like us. We play best when we have 25 plus assists and, a balanced game. And I feel like we all need to figure out how to make sure we all play well, just because that's just who we are. That's how we're successful.
And did you feel like the lack of rhythm and flow that you guys had, like the shots that you guys don't typically take, and you missed them a lot today? Did you feel like being in transition a lot defensively was a large part of why you guys didn't have that signature connectivity on that end?
Yeah, I just think that having the first half the way it did, we just didn't feel the rhythm on offense. So I think if we play how we play better early on in the game and, set the tone of how we want to play in the first quarter, then maybe we'll make those shots, more in the fourth quarter. But, no excuses. No matter how ugly the game is, like in those moments, you have to make shots. So and we just didn't make them when we needed to.
Hey, Ellie. Back here. There we go. Going back to physicality, Z said she really wasn't expecting the level of physicality that they came out without the punch, like first out the gate. Did you expect that level of physicality?
Yes, definitely. I know that they've been talking about their first quarters. I know that their only chance against us is to punch us first. And I know our last 6 games against us, we've come out very strong in the first quarter. So I was expecting that. We all were. We were talking about how physical that was going to be their edge against us. And we didn't respond great. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't the worst first quarter, but we could have been better.
Mike Hughes on Zoom. Mike. Eric Wilson, Zoom. Eric.
Allie, appreciate your time. I just wanted to ask you, moving forward, what is the mindset of yourself, knowing that a night like tonight is not characteristic of your style of play?
I'm just optimistic that we're gonna enforce our will in the next game. We're gonna be us. We're gonna, play our style, and we're gonna do it. This is playoff time, and we're gonna respond. I know we're gonna respond.
Sean on Zoom. Last question. Sean. All right. Any more questions for Allie? Thank you, Allie.
Thank you.